Hey everybody, I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin. Welcome to ICC's Banter Blitz. This is our monthly get-together, and I'm ready to take on all comers in 3-minute chess with 2-second increment. It's always lots of fun. 10 o'clock on the East Coast. I've got my giant coffee here. You can never have too much coffee. And as always, your best chance may be to get me in the beginning before I'm warmed up. You know, once I start throwing strikes, it's hard to hit my fastball. So you want to get in line, get in there as soon as you can. And I hope that everybody gets a chance to play today. So we should have the first game momentarily. Nice day on the East Coast, Northeast, and no rain today. Relatively cool, about 70 degrees. My son is at chess camp this week. I'm very excited about that. He's digging the game. He's a little more into baseball, I would say, which is okay with me too, because I'm a repressed baseball player. I had to give it up for chess when I was a kid. But he's a chip off the old block, that one. So, I see people starting to line up, but usually we have lots of people in the queue. So I guess a lot of stragglers today. But this time I get a lot of players from other countries, where it's afternoon or even evening, and that's a great thing about ICC. You know. There's always people around the world, and whatever time it is for you, it's another time for somebody else, and maybe even more convenient. Okay, here we go. I am playing Simply Wonderful. And my E3 did not throw off Simply Wonderful whatsoever. So it's transposing into a kind of Slav. So I'm going to see if I can maybe learn something from my students, because I've seen that this move order delaying d4 has been very popular lately. And there's some ideas that white could try to build for a kingside attack. Black is committed. Queen e7. So there's no knight d7. I haven't really been paying much attention to black's moves, I have to say. But maybe that's a good thing for black not to commit to knight d7, because I didn't put any pressure on the center here. But if black plays e5, I guess there's always cd5 followed by knight b5. Black has to reckon with. Doesn't really want to give up the bishop. This is something that black does sometimes, trade the bishops. But white doesn't necessarily mind that, because for one thing, it's black's good bishop. And now, how should we do this? Let's go for it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take that bishop on a3. On the one hand, it does distract the black queen from the action. On the other hand, it also means that I can't castle until that queen moves. So it's a question, is the queen going to be useful there? But this g4 often bugs people a little bit. Pawn takes pawn. I think I'm happy with that. Black loses some influence in the center. Now I get the e4 square. Of course, if I'm going to castle queenside, I put my pawn on c4. I could have taken with the bishop, but I think my opponent was trying to open up the d5 square for the knight, so I'm not going to let that happen so easily. Of course, if black takes the pawn, then something like rook g1. Okay, so this is knight b4 is perhaps a lethal threat. Do I have to worry about that? I'm trying to work out if there's some kind of tricky way that I can end up trapping the queen. No, there's no trapping the queen. It can always come back. So I may want to transition here a bit. Oh, well, it is a blitz game after all. Okay, so let's just go rook b1. This is the first time that I tried playing this system for white, so it's new to me. So if knight b4, yeah, here I think I'll probably just trade queens. And then just try to play with more pawns in the center. c5, good move. Let's try that. Try to grab some space and maybe take away the good retreat square from the knight. And then there's an idea of knight d7 and take a3. Okay. Okay, now it's a good time for a3. By pushing that to, ooh, okay. Well, all right, that's a static weakness. Static weakness, okay. May have to pick up the pace slightly. So black doesn't really have a convenient way to defend that. Next move might be, oh yeah, well, she doesn't defend. Or he, I don't know, the picture is a woman. Takes. Yeah, that's a challenge here for me. Okay. Yeah, my plan was to take it, but now I'm getting perhaps a little bit out of play here. Rook b8. Should I trade that, or bishop b5 immediately? That was very clever. All right, so I got to pick up the pace here. How should I do it? Knight b5. Yeah. Maybe I should have just consolidated my position rather than bishop f3. Bishop a6 was an excellent move. Most of the time, most players, lower-rated players, they just defend things, and then they end up not so happy. But sometimes you need to try to get counterplay. Okay, so f4, I want to keep that knight from e5, and if my bishop is attacked, I can come to f3, pick up a tempo, and then I can finally get connected. But I did not win a pawn there, so I think black did well. Now, both clocks are starting to run down. So I just want to play bishop f3 and bring my king out, and okay. What's that? Rook takes a3 coming. Okay. Well, let me start with that. So the pawn can't be taken if it moves. at least not right away. King e2. I think everything's covered. And maybe rook comes to c1 and defends the c4 pawn, and then my knight's ready to move. Yeah, right now it looks like I got everything covered. So takes, okay. I don't know if that was the right capture, but not a lot of time to think about it. So now it's just blitz mode, so I'm gotta play fast. There, okay, now we take the A file. Okay, let's get the center rolling here. Maybe that trade wasn't strictly necessary. I'm not sure, but again, time is a factor. I could have gone rook g6. Maybe that made more sense. Ooh, okay. There's my trick. Okay. Tough endgame for black anyway, I think. But yeah, good game. Simply wonderful. Came up with some nice moves. Bishop a6, rook d3 was clever. But just enough there. I got some practice in that opening I was kind of interested in trying out. So good way to warm me up. John Jr. is up now. I believe he's a new one to the show. He's trying to out-weird me. I like that. Kind of like my friend Ears. All right, so I don't know, I'll just be developing pieces here, see what he's up to. Bishop f4, okay. I think if I castle, I should be pretty safe from any kinds of attacks there. Get ready to take over the center if he lets me. He's not letting me so easily, okay. Well, one thing John Jr. is doing is playing really, really fast. And up until a second ago, he had more time than he started with. All right, let's just push it. Push it, baby. And just general flicking of the queenside pawns up. What to do? Where do my pieces belong? All right. I guess I got to come up with some kind of plan. Well, that I'm not too upset to see because he's weakening a lot of light squares with that. I guess he wants knight f4, but I think I would have probably wanted to keep that pawn on f4 for a while. All right, now definitely I'm getting something going. I got my pawns rolling. Okay, now he's starting to try to create some threats, so I must be careful here. Knight h5 coming. Should I get greedy? Yes. I'm going to get greedy. No intention of taking that rook, but I just want to eliminate that pawn. So I have to watch out a little bit about rook takes b7 stuff. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually, I wish I hadn't given the check now, but I'm actually just going to park my bishop on e5 so that e-pawn can never move. And I figure I've got the best defense is really to push those pawns down his throat before he can try to scare up a mating attack. Queen h4, so he's getting ready to play f6. All right, let's just go. f6, g5, his queen is kind of trapped. So that's what he's up to. Okay, let me take that. Whoa. Okay, let me take that. Wow. All right, I'm just going to put a queen on the... Oh, g4 is a big threat. So queen g4 is a big threat. What to do? Okay, do that. Bring my queen over. Phew. Okay. Bring my queen over to defend. Because those pawns are massive. Yep. That does it. That was kind of clever at the end there. Knight g7, rook b7, f6. I think he was fighting queen g4. I almost kind of fell for that, I have to say. Just had to make one more defensive move, because I knew those pawns are going to win. You have to make sure that your opponent doesn't have a concrete threat. So a lot of players lose games like that. I thank you, John Jr. Fibonacci 777. So I'm going to guess this is a numbers guy. B6, again, another guy trying to out-weird me to some extent. So we've transposed into a kind of A3. Oops. I want to play bishop D3, but I somehow clicked on my F-pawn. F-pawn not going anywhere here. So this is actually a conventional Queen's Indian. Yeah, Queen's Indian, right? Knight df6. Usually black just kind of plays directly for c5. The knight and f6 might be a target for me to play e5. Alright, there's c5. And then one of these things about this type of structure is I'm never really sure where to put the bishop. I just put it on b2, but sometimes it's better going on the original diagonal. You know who's really good at this kind of thing? Garry Kasparov. Teenage Garry Kasparov played this A3 Queen's Indian. He's phenomenal. He just killed people, absolutely. I remember him playing it at the World Junior, destroyed somebody and made a great impression on me. I used to write down his games in notebooks because we didn't have computers, no databases. They didn't have any databases until the mid-'80s. They didn't have any of that in the early 80s. All right. So he took the pressure off the center. He killed my bishop on b2, but I'm just going to reroute it the other way. I think I'll be happy with that. Because the pawn on c4, it's not so easy for plan for black. Maybe to try to push, to b5 and all that, but it looks kind of time consuming. All right, I'm going to jump in with the knight. And then my first thought was bishop f4, but I don't know if I'm loving that. So I'll go by f4. Usually this kind of thing I do with pieces more than pawns, but let's see. f6. Do I want to trade? Am I a merchant? I think I'll go here. See if that does anything. Maybe, what is next? f5? Rook f3. Yeah, rook f3 is possible. I have to look at it a little bit for f5. Yeah, I think that's the correct decision, not to bother trying to make too many defensive moves, because that could end up just weakening. So black, he's setting up some counterplay. All right, so b4. Okay, I can let b4 happen. d5. d5 is interesting. I don't know. This rook f3 doesn't really feel right, but it's already in my head, and it's a blitz game, so I'm going to do it. d5 could have been great, except he'd have in between check. Yeah, this I thought that I could just sacrifice in exchange, but maybe I'm not in that great a position to do it. Not like I thought. Yeah, so maybe I'll just go back. Now d5 is kind of a threat, yeah. Knight f6. Rook. Alright, let's just get the rook out of the pin. I didn't know to go G3. No, I think G3 was better. That was my original thought. Yeah. No, but now he's taken it. Now the rook is better on H3. But I thought rook H3 maybe could play G6. If my rook was on G3, I could take on F5 and take again because I had a pin. Now H7 is getting very weakened. It's not easy. Not easy to defend it now. And E6 is hanging, so timing not so good. But maybe G6 is okay for black. All right, recapture. Recapture, and what's his big idea? How does he defend that? He can't defend it. Ooh, okay. I'm happy to take that, H7. Yeah, I don't think he wanted to do that. Well, that's not mate, you know. Why is he resigning? It's the fun part, especially for the fans, to see, you know, how am I going to work out a mate. It's not actually mate there. Just took one pawn. Obviously, it's very good for me, but it's not force mate. Not right away, anyway. It was a good game, Fibonacci, only just right at the end there did I start to emerge. So today's theme is E-pawn, E3, E6. Check. Ooh, very fancy, Dan 910712 Tango 9 or Bravo. Yeah, because the bishop is kind of stranded out there, but on the other hand, his king is moved, so. All right, so here's F5 is truly a pawn sacrifice. I guess a lot of people maybe play F5 takes and then bishop check, but I guess that would come to the same thing. So now my knight can develop to F6 without worrying about E5 chasing it away. A lot of variations, you got to worry about this bishop on B4 just a bit. That white could try to trap it, but it's not that easy. All right, I'm just going to castle without thinking about that too much. I guess I'll take that back. Oops. Dripped a little water. My giant iced coffee is melting. That's a pretty big iced coffee they gave you at Dunkin' Donuts. All right, what happened? Knight C3. I'm going to chop that. Then I don't have to worry about that going anywhere. Maybe that wasn't the right move, but I'm not going to worry about it. Just develop. White has a very nice looking position. If his king is on E1, he can castle, but king on F1, it's... One sort of adjustment I made in my chess philosophy over the years is really respecting initiative versus material, especially pawns, because my theory of chess is that the player that has the easier moves to play is usually going to play the better moves. If you're in a position where mistakes are easy to find, you'll probably find them. If your opponent has a lot of mistakes out there to be found, he'll find them too. H3, so what's he up to? All right, I'll play one more prep move. Make sure E6 is defended. Just do that without thinking. Both sides have played fairly well. I don't know if it's all that quick because we're just in the opening. All right, 95, got to take that. And now my knight can really jump anywhere. Should I go for the old bishop of opposite colors with the initiative? I think I will. If he takes, which I have a feeling that he probably should. So you can't take that because of mate and some good threats on the white squares for me. F3, I think queen g6 here is a bit annoying. Can't even take on e4. I've got a couple of very nice threats. I don't think he has an easy defense. I'm at least gonna take a very nice pawn here. So I think I got big edge. Yeah, but the problem is the biggest threat was bishop d3, winning the queen. Yeah. All right, Dan 910712. See, he tried to battle it out toe-to-toe. If it works, it's great, but it didn't, and so he went down 18 moves. Sometimes even the low-rated guys, they just play a lot of weird moves, and that could be tricky. Okay, ears is up, and he's gonna push a pawn one square. I know. I don't know which one. He must have heard me. He heard me. Okay, and he plays knight f6. I do believe ears has a sense of humor. My friend from the north. Maybe I think I'll go all Yusupov on him. One great thing about the Yusupov system is you can play lots of moves without thinking. And then usually you throw this up here, and you throw this up here. This is about this kind of thing Larry Christian would say. It's a totally mindless attack for white, so easy. It's kind of true. This is where I should probably come up with something clever, because it looks like I'm on the verge of something nice, but I really don't want to play g4. I don't know, I'm going to put this on d1 actually. I just have a hunch about that. Why that square? Yeah. Now I'm going to play another generic waiting move, king h1, which would be very bad if I played g4 later, but... Now when I play ears, he tends to play very, very slowly, but he's playing a much faster pace this time. Knight f8. Yeah, how is... how are you supposed to crack this? I think that white is actually supposed to take at some point and open things. That's why the rook on d1 is good, because now it's opposite the queen. Whenever a rook is opposite a queen, that's almost a good thing. So I'm going to now look to open. So my last few moves sort of seem to make sense in this context. But he's got a pretty solid position. Knight and f8. Bent Larson used to say knight and f8, you never get mated. Rook c7. It's very solid today. Yeah, I don't really know how to do this. Try that. I guess I've got a pin on the D file. Ah! Clever boy. I feel like I have a lot of pieces pointing at the king, and something should happen. It's kind of a little bit of a decision for black. Yeah, maybe didn't do that right. I don't know. Okay, so let's maybe target the g7 square, because he defended h7 so well. Yeah, he pushed that guy out. Yeah, that was maybe the problem with the takes. But okay, I can reroute this bishop, I suppose. Maybe play f5 and bishop c1. Or c3 is possible too, to try to open that up. Queen, okay, don't believe I want to trade. I don't really want my bishop on f5 either. Maybe that wasn't the right move. It wasn't the move I wanted, because if I wanted to play f5, I should have just played f5. See, I'm going to repeat the position. Yeah, okay. I'll put the pawn on f5. Maybe knight b6 and take his bishop, if he lets me. I guess the problem is black has to keep making solid defensive moves. Not that easy. Queen c6. Okay, let's just bring this guy around. Just keep up the pressure. Pressure Scotty. And just make sure that I don't move my queen away from g2. And okay, now I got a forky. I'm almost tempted not to take the rook, but I don't think I really have a combination, so I think I have to take it. Bishop c4 is interesting. Probably shouldn't do that, but playing for the crowd a bit. Maybe rook e1 was not bad to threaten bishop g5. Sometimes a slightly less direct move is even stronger. Queen h4. Okay. Well, let's start with that. Well, that's good enough. That's going to take a lot of things. Check. And my queen is actually defended. Well, I'll just take his queen. Just why not? And then I'll take this guy. So it started to come apart at the end for ears, but it was a pretty tough game along the way. Yeah. All right. Well, he played a lot faster that game, and actually gave me more to worry about. Because when I have a huge edge on the clock, then I know that, you know, you're gonna make some kind of blunder. You're very welcome. All right, so far so good today. MYH 2110. I believe that's someone I haven't versed before, as my son would say. Apparently, versing someone is a thing, especially in New Jersey. I never heard that before I came out here, but the kids always say, "Who am I versing?" All right. I was holding my bishop there, waiting to drop it for quite some time. Yeah, it's kind of boring, actually. This is all right. Maybe I'm castling into something because all right, he castled anyway. It's just these kinds of things are very popular now. All these bishop f4 systems, but they really not very exciting to say. But you know, it's a way to get a playable position out of the opening. You know, it's certainly creates more work for me to try to win the game. Doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't know. I'll play a restrained approach here. Figure out what my plan is. Now I remember something about how I used to. I had some ideas about how to play this type of system, but I kind of forgot what they were. So maybe another game. So MYH 2110 is taking his time on these moves, but I have to say that even with all the time he's taken, I'm still not doing all that great a job figuring out what to do. Maybe now I have maybe a plan of playing E5. Which is something that he really can defend against without too much trouble. Bishop A6. Okay. Fine. I think that's kind of a neutral thing to trade that, but I'm just thinking that he shouldn't have let me play this E5 so easily. Because if he played something like Rook A D1, just getting on the file, Rook opposite the Queen, I don't think I was going to play E5 right away. So I think he made that a little bit easier for me. Bishop A6 is a move that certainly could have waited. All right, let's push this forward. Make something happen a little bit. Yeah, so he wants to play knight G4. Which I'm not so happy about. You trade a lot of pieces. Well, okay. You want to trade a lot of pieces, trade a lot of pieces, okay. Because I don't want to let him play D5 at a moment I can't play knight E5. Which is what I was kind of afraid of there if I played something like H6. Don't want to give up that E4 pawn. But the thing is, now he's played this game a little bit too slow. You know, sometimes it's just a good strategy just to kind of use your instincts and just play what looks good and not worry too much. Because if you get down to 30 seconds, you have 30 seconds and I have more than a minute, it's going to be a very difficult road for you. That's for sure. But certainly he is doing a pretty good job of staying in the game. Okay. Now he's trying to pick up the pace, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, let's start to get some cheapies going. I do have to watch out a little bit about, making sure that everything's protected, because I kind of don't like that my rook is not really well protected. Actually, let me go ahead and just chase that knight. Maybe. Okay, so now my rook is not attacked, at least not at the moment. I do have to be careful about the back rank here. Okay. All right, now I'm getting some sinister ideas. Some very sinister ideas. Check this out. He saw that one, but somehow I've got my rooks into really good attacking position. It all started when I got E5 in. Yeah, now Rook H3 or Rook G2 is threatened. I don't think he has really... I could try something like F3 or F4. Yeah, he's definitely a huge attack. All right, you're very welcome again. Everybody thanking me today. Lots of politeness. All right. Who's next? It's Sachin 007. Do 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 do. Ah, he's a Dutchie. All right, let's just get that going. E4. It's an interesting combination of moves. E3, D6. I wonder if there's any reason to delay F5 against E3. Interesting. I think if you have to play a move like F4, you're kind of regretting a little bit playing F5. Now, I thought about playing E5, but I think if he plays E5, I'm probably just going to win a pawn. It looks like a decent pawn to take, Bishop B5. Moving things twice, but of course, look how many moves Black has expended on pawns. 6 of his first move, 8 moves with pawns. Uh-oh. Well, I mean, D takes E5 is still pretty good, but I suppose I should take this piece, yeah. Yep. Maybe Queen C4 is even stronger. It's unconventional, but lure him into playing Queen E7 and then go D5. Well, I guess this is really no good answer there. All right, take, and Bishop goes back, and then maybe I reposition on C4. So say no castling, not in my house. A6. All right, let's go in. Not too much risk in doing that with an extra piece. Let's see, is Knight H7 on? Knight H7 is on. Shouldn't have played F5. Shouldn't have played F5. Opened up the king. I don't know. You know, when I was a teenager, you know, already a master, even a senior master, nobody, even when I was even as a grandmaster, nobody played the Dutch in America. It was just considered to be a bad opening because it was played in very antiquated ways, just purely going for checkmate. And I always crushed the Dutch every time. And then around 86, 87, I started playing against grandmasters, and who understood the Dutch, and I lost a number of games to European players and Russians. So I started to respect the opening, but I still think it's not really a very good opening, let's say below the master level, because you know when you start off with F5, you open your king on the first move. It takes some sophistication to handle especially a lot of the gambits or anti-Dutch systems. So I don't think it's really a great opening to play unless you're a very advanced player. It's usually better off playing something that's, you know, more straightforward, developing and trying to occupy the center, but without opening up your king. Thank you, Sachin 007. Here's another regular, Niken Duiorto. This system, okay, I know this. I played this for white. It's a little tricky, but it's not really that great in the main lines. bishop f4. Yeah, I think I'll just kind of go down the line, I guess. Thing is, if black plays like all the most natural moves, just like the mainline moves, it's really pretty good for black. Of course, I have to remember them. But I do kind of remember that like all the moves for black were just like pretty straightforward. But right at this moment, I can't really remember anything. I mean, the problem for white is that just this knight on c3, you don't really get as much control of the center as you want. You don't have it controlling the d4 square. I think there's a lot of games where black plays a6, so perhaps I have erred in allowing that move. That is entirely possible. But I don't know. What about this move? What's going on there? So there's bishop h7, but I don't think it works. Queen h5 and knight g6. I don't think it actually works because it's not a mate on h8. Yeah. So what? So now I just took this and f2. That's another problem with this opening. It's f2. It's very hard to break that pressure on f2. I know these things. I played it for white, and I'm aware of its shortcomings. Rook e2. Yeah. How are we doing this? Yeah, maybe I didn't need to play a6. I will say this for my opponent: he's played relatively quickly, which, as I say, is a good thing to do, because then you have time to figure out the problems later. Yeah, I did not play that so accurately, allowing his knight to come back. Bishop b3, knight e3. I don't know about this, but I'm going to play. They don't have so much time. His queen is a little bit wobbly here. But how do I take advantage of it? I feel that move feels a little superficial, that move, but I've got some tactical ideas in mind. Yeah. See, when you have two bishops, you get a lot of cute tactics like this. I think I probably should just take this queen. Also have e5, but maybe e5 was even better. Yeah. That's I've tried to make that opening work for white, but just, I mean, that's the main line with black playing f6, and it's really pretty good for black. I don't know if I played the most exact way, but that's the kind of thing that can typically happen to white. But thank you, Ken with Diarto. I never have found out what that handle is about. I think that was my first genuine French, playing E6 all day. Okay, zealous. Come on, zealous, answer the bell. Oh, there we go. I always did like the Queen's Indian. Ah, fancy. I was hoping for knight takes. Maybe he could have just castled and taken it later. All right, let's pick up the tempo on the queen. I guess that kind of tempo is not necessarily a huge deal in a flank opening. Ah. What are you trying to do to me? Maybe I'm going to try to bother that queen. See if I can trap the queen. Boo-hoo-ha-ha. Yeah, now I'm starting to calculate some trades here. The knight g3, bishop f3, knight h5. Can't really take that bishop on g7 though, because my knight gets trapped. I can take on f6, bishop f6, bishop f6. Could lose a pawn though. Could also go knight e5. Which is probably a good move. But I don't think I'm going to do it. I can put my knight somewhere. All right. I think I'll go here. Let's see if I can scare up something on the king's side. I'm not really sure that was necessary, but he has to be careful, a little bit careful about things. Yeah, expected you to try that. My bishop isn't trapped yet. Yeah, so I'm getting ready to play f5. If he doesn't stop me. And he didn't. So I think I'll play f5. See, I would have thought that almost automatic reaction would be e6. Although maybe I had some ideas that I could play f5 anyway with a sacrifice. Yeah, actually, I think I probably could have done that, but I really wasn't aware of that possibility. Okay. All right, I think I'd better take that. It looks like a pawn. I don't see real danger in taking that pawn. I do notice that Zealous, I won't say Zealous has played really fast, but he's played faster than I have. So he's got almost a minute on the clock. So this is another one of those games where I have to come out of my reverie and start moving a little bit faster. But now I've got extra pawns in the center. Not really worried about a move like knight e4. Worst case, I could take it. Okay. So that. Check. Let him think about how he wants to recapture. King takes, probably going to lose the a-pawn. All right. Now, let's get in there. Got a very nice square on e4. I have to be just a little careful that he doesn't get, queen the h-pawn somehow. But this seems to stop it up pretty good. He's got a lot of targets. Knight f6, I could just take it. Play rook ending. What am I going to do? Alright, let's play the rook ending. I do have one more pawn, right? Okay. Did count this right. I'm assuming that this, has to be pretty easy with an extra pawn. I mean, you almost never can play. All right, let me just start by fixing that because I have reserve tempo move over there if I want. You almost never can go into a pawn ending when you're down a pawn like that. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Ellis. That was a good game. I had that pressure on the king side in the end game, and probably he shouldn't even played h5. But I noticed with lower-rated players, it's almost automatic that when you play h4, a4, they block it with the pawn. It's like they learn that that's something you do, and they apply it all the time. But sometimes you have to be judicious about it. All right, so what am I doing? I'm playing the French. Yeah, not my favorite opening, really. Okay, so this is Arnold Muscat. All right, so bishop b7. I'm trying something a little different, but he takes. Well, it's not exactly French anymore now. It's just developing pieces and whatnot. All right, so I can kind of try to be active here, isolate pawn, okay, because I have good pieces. Mm-hmm. My opponent said hi. That's friendly. He said hi. Let's jump in. And reinforce that. These isolated pawn positions, the b8, h2 diagonal is very important. Very often you can set up a battery there and create problems. So that's one idea. It's a hanging pawn position. Of course, a lot of strategy is the same. Queen A4, very direct, attacking things. Knight C5. Queen takes C6. Yeah, I think queen takes c6 would be bad. All right, so grab the bishop pair here, I guess. Oh. But I want to trade. What am I, merchant? I think I want to trade. I'm no merchant. As I said in Searching for Bobby Fischer. Ah, King F1. But Arnold Muscat hasn't played faster than me again, another guy, so that always means you have a chance. You don't want to blitz out your moves, but if you can stay ahead on the clock, that's a good sign. All right, so I provoked F3, not really desirable move, and now just the generic H5. When good players don't know what to do, they play H4 or H5. My friend Mike Wilder, that's a Mike Wilder quote. So I want to bring that rook into play. Oh, I'm sorry, Arnold, too fast on that one. Oops, yes. Well, I was keeping that guy out, trying to keep that guy out of play. All right, I had a nice position, but how I was going to win that, I don't know, if not for the blunder, but blunder's part of the game, of course. All right. Still a lot of guys lined up. Some guys have already gotten in there. I think it may happen very, very rarely that players may get to play 2 games in one session, but I believe that Sandro is going to give everybody a chance for 1 game before somebody gets 2. Okay, so Dorshu Karpov. So I don't know. Does that mean that this Dorshu is maybe part of the name, and then this guy likes Karpov, and that's why Karpov is in there? Mysteries of the universe. Okay. What to do? What to do? What to do? I just pre-moved there. Clever me. So I'm playing a Yusupov system against a Fianchetto. Certainly less effective, but something to do. But maybe I'll just play C4 here. Yeah, why not? I played a lot of games with E4. It's interesting how many games have gotten E4 in, playing E3 on move 1. Sometimes that weird first move gets opponents to do odd things. I've gotten quite a number of really good positions out of the opening. I haven't gotten any really bad positions, I don't, today. I'm doing better. Sometimes I play A3 or A6 or something like that. Ah, did he hear me when I said I was going to play C4? I feel like he did. But you know, he's not going to dissuade me. I'm going to do this anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, if I play A3, he won't be able to play A5. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll get a little more space that way. My other thought was just to play E4. Yeah, I'll be able to target his A pawn. Hard position for black because there's really nothing to attack. So you want to try to stay solid. Ah, C5. All right. So I've got an extra pawn in the center now. Which is not necessarily all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's try C5. Let's see. Nice protected pass pawn. See what I can make of that. Sometimes in Blitz game you might play a move just because it looks a little easier. I mean, it may be objectively better to trade. I probably should have just gone there right away. I may be too fancy. High price to pay for being stylish. Let's just put some direct pressure there and see what shakes out. No threats yet, but this kind of thing people often find unpleasant. Well, I have to figure out what to do with my pieces. Knight on D3 might be good. I mean, my bishop right now is certainly not doing anything at all. I don't know that I really want my queen on... I suspect that my queen on A4 might actually cause my rook on A6 to have some problems. So now I have to regroup a little bit. But of course, he can try to improve his position too. All right. Come around this way. Oh, I haven't noticed it, but Darshu Karpov is just about out of time, which is going to be a big problem. So therefore, I just play very random H3, and making Luft, and just, yeah, letting him think of some move to play, right? And so I play kind of tricky Queen E1. Where am I going? Where am I going? This is where I'm going. You're coming with me. You're coming with me. So attacking the b4 pawn, which I don't think he saw. I believe I can take that. I should have played queen a3. I allowed knight takes c5 there. Just played a very quick move. Silly. Okay. I ran out of time. Didn't quite get that move in. All right. It's a very methodical positional business there. Yeah, just not easy to play against the grandmaster, I suppose. Oh wow, my rating is under 2,700. I remember being over 2,700. I must have accidentally played a rated game somewhere. Okay, cap 78 red. Flying the Union Jack here. All right. Mm-hmm. This is castle. Well, he's playing fast, but I think he's also making it relatively easy for me. Not really complicated moves I have to play, but I think he may have some issues here. He's trying to get castled. All right. I think I'll just take away his castling. I mean, it might be better just to develop pieces and keep pressure on, but I'll go for the take away the castling route. It may not be that big a deal that he can't castle, because he can do that. Yeah. But, okay, but he can't put both king and bishop on g2, which I think is a little bit of a problem for him. Not so fast, he says. Okay, well, I think I got a little something something here. Knight c4, queen d3 doesn't really look... That's bad, because I didn't see that move at all. Whenever your opponent has a move that you don't see at all, that's a little scary. But I can take it. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. I could take it. It wasn't there. Still, though, there's always that momentary shock when your opponent plays a move you didn't consider. Like, okay, is something hanging? But fortunately for me, nothing's hanging. I mean, something was hanging for him. Looking good for me. Thanks, Cap 78 Red. I like playing fast in the opening, but maybe that was a little too fast at the outset there. All right, so far so good. I've won them all, I believe. I lost count, but have a shot for a perfect score. Okay. Capitan Santella. First person to play E5 today. So we got a kind of French. Bishop E6. Don't know. Maybe he was going to take my pawn if I let him. This could be a problem. I'm coming. You're not. This is something you generally can't allow. This if that pawn can get all the way to B5, you got problems, and he can't stop it because of the A file being open. So this is white gets a lot of play over there. I have never had this particular position, but I know that excuse me, that general strategy I've won with many times. Where'd he go? Knight Gf6. Oh, I didn't even notice that move. Position almost plays itself. Huge space advantage. At some moment, probably B5 happens. Maybe now. Yeah. What next? Maybe knight comes into D6, try to get the bishops. But I think the general plan is just putting a rook on B1 at some point, attacking B7. I think it's hard for him to defend. So maybe he needs a good idea. Yeah. I don't think... Maybe it's a good move. I don't think it changes that much, though. Just move away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like everything in my position is overprotected. You know, the C5 pawn, you can't get that. D4 is protected by both my knights. I don't feel like there's any vulnerabilities here. Yeah, I wonder if he had bishop F5. No, I don't think it was sound. They could cover the back rank. Takes, knight C7 is interesting. Or just knight C7 right away, or knight D6 right away, or takes a knight D6. Takes a knight D6. Yeah, I'm not loving that so much. All right. I really do have to make a lift soon here. So does he, for that matter. Oh, he does it right away. All right, I'll do it too. I don't know if I need to. Maybe I could just take the pawn, but I'm certainly getting out of the way of old tricks by playing h3. Yeah, I think he had to take the knight because this is just going to be b7 pawn, and that's going to be a6. The c pawn is going to be decisive. Knight e4. Attacking the bishop now. Not that great a threat, actually. He could just move the bishop. Maybe it should have been more subtle. Bishop f6, I thought. Can I try to take another pawn? I want my two bishops, but yeah, I think I will. Or maybe I can also just come to the 8th rank. I think I'll do this. f7 pawn. Yeah, but I may not even take that pawn. I think I won't even take that pawn. I think I'll just go here. Threat knight d7. I missed that move, but okay. Not that big a deal. I might go back and attack that pawn again. I try this again. I have my handy lift, so I'm not worried about mates. Maybe I just advance the pawn. Maybe kick the knight back. Where are you going? Get back. Get back, Jack. Oh, didn't see that. Well, surely this guy has to get through now. Check. Queen. Thank you, Capitan Centella. Captain? Bien. Gracias. Arnold Muscat getting another bite at the apple. Must be his lucky day. Well, last time he hung a piece. Well, not great position, but he hadn't lost anything. Now I get white. All right, if he's not going to move the bishop or defend that, we'll go to the standard plan of harassing these pawns. What? Oh. I don't think he meant to do that. Oops. Oops again. Finger failure. More beer. More beer. Oh boy. My day has just started. I got no beer for me. No beer for me. I'm just trying to put some coffee into my system. I get to give a chess lesson um, uh, after this session, and I have to be on top of my game. When I got students who are masters, I have to not suggest moves that hang pieces. Anyway, we must be getting close to the end. I should keep a running tally, just have a piece of paper every time I win a game, just put a check. Another one bites the dust. Who we got? I see a couple of new names. Haven't got in there yet. Provisional. Challenge will be accepted. Yeah, so far things have gone well in these games, because I have to say I'm really, really tired. One of the problems is the Mets are playing on the West Coast, and I'm just incorrigible. I don't know, I got to get my Metsies, when they're on late at night and everybody's gone to bed. I can't help it. And we got a new TV, a 48-inch TV, and it's a nice crisp picture. So I was watching the Mets last night, and they finished around like 1 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. MZ Ninja 66. And he is going to get the last shot at me today. Takes it. Just like that. Mm-hmm. Usually white only does knight c6 against a6, because the a6 move is definitely not useful if black is taking on c6 with the pawn, but the queen c7 most likely will be useful. Like here, I can try to make it work attacking the h2 pawn. So that's kind of an extra tempo for black, and I think that could create issues. Like, what happens if I just... I could attack that knight, but I guess maybe it's not that big a threat to take it. Yeah, I don't see how to take advantage of this. Maybe I can do this. Okay, before. I mean, I could have done this without provoking f4, but it seems like provoking f4 makes sense, because that way, if I get to take this pawn on e4, then should be a weakening. So he's got to defend this some way, or counterattack or something, but got some pressure there. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. Yeah, I thought knight a4 was stronger, because that takes away a lot of squares from the queen. And then try to take on f6. Now I don't think he can even try to take on f6, because if I take on d3, I'm attacking two pieces. I think he just has to move the bishop, and then, okay, then I've taken a pawn. Taken a pawn. Well, I mean, how great it will be, I don't know, but I've got a pawn. Knight g4. Yeah. Threatens a lot of forking things there. It's a forking cool move. And bishop g7 is certainly a risky move. Rook g8 coming, and a lot of stuff for me. Maybe I throw in bishop c5 first. Possibly. I mean, you can try it, but it certainly looks like a risky move. Maybe 90. Maybe start with 93, even. It's a kind of annoying move, you know. In Blitz, all kinds of threats. 93, and maybe a fork on f2 is a lot to worry about. Bishop d4. Yeah, this is not unexpected, and I think I'm just going to simply play here. Be prepared to trade that bishop and 93, and yeah, I already won a pawn, but if I just simply castle, let him play bishop takes f6, he could try to get some compensation, but I think here he's not really going to get any compensation. So what should I do? No, if I trade everything, I lose the e-pawn. You don't really want to lose that e-pawn. That's an annoying move, actually. Hmm. I suppose I could have just played 93, which was sort of the original idea. But I can do it now. Or I could go back. I'll go 93. And now I think I could play f5 and guard everything. If I can successfully do this, I can castle. My rook protects f5. And my bishop can come back here, and everything is defended. Huh, that was clever. I thought he was going to take that pawn, but he decided not to. All right, well, anyway, now it's coming down to the time, so got to move fast. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. Bishop should be getting in there. Normally there's just no way to hold out against bishops and pass pawn like that. Uh-oh. That was easier to take that one in the first place, yeah. Okay. Now we're coming back. Got your queen. Okay. I believe, yeah, that was the last one. All right, MZ Ninja 66. Thank you for the game. Some tricky moments there. Looks like it was a clean sweep this week. So my strategy of e3 for white and e6 for black, I guess it's fairly conventional, certainly with black. I mean, you can play e6 on move 1 with black. Almost anything is reasonable. And white, I was getting a lot of queens, Indian reverse type things, and some normal queen pawn openings. Some interesting games. So thanks everybody for coming out to your computers and challenging me today. It's fun games. It's always good to get a little chess exercise, as most of the time I'm either doing very mundane family things, or I'm writing columns, preparing videos, working with students. I don't get all that much me time in chess, so this is kind of fun for me, and I get paid for it too. It's just wonderful. So thanks for everyone coming out today. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin, and I hope that you will join me next month for ICC's Banter Blitz. Bye.